I'm going to go ahead and get started. I just want to say welcome everyone to the August webinar. And today we are going to be discussing some of the new features in ProFund accounting that got released or that are going to be released here later today. Well, some of the fixes that are that we did to ProFund accounting. And then as a teaser or a demo of the actual new time card system that we're going to be releasing shortly. So, or hopefully shortly. But yeah, so I've been working on the PFA Works, the web version that you guys saw back in May. It has come a long way since that time, and so I'm going to be showing you kind of what how the progress has come along on that, as well as how the look and feel of it has changed a bit from what you saw in May. So one of the changes that we've done recently in ProFund accounting is the new format for the 2021 941 has been updated and released, and the IRS in their wonderful wisdom decided with COVID they wanted to add some more things for COVID related reporting to the 941. So they pushed out a new 941 at the beginning of July for people to use for the second, third, and fourth quarters of 2021. So we have support for that that got added in. And a big thing in the MERS, and this one already went out, but the big thing in the MERS is that we added support for the loan information in the MERS contribution file. So that if people have loans from MERS, they can actually be recorded in our system as deductions, and those loan payments will, if set up correctly, those loan payments will come out in the appropriate spots in the MERS upload file. We also changed in MERS the way we support the employer deductions, the employer portions of the MERS as well. I believe right now you can use the benefits portion in ProFund accounting to actually handle the employer portion of the MERS file. So those are some of the recent changes that we've done. In the bank sections of the payroll checks laser and payroll checks laser single form reports, those got updated to add a bank notes field in there. So if you run those reports, you can see the bank notes field. It was added in the bank types maintenance. So if you go to set up bank types, you'll see a new notes field, and that notes field will translate to the checks in the bank sections of the payroll checks. So this brings you to this screen, which is our login screen, which changed quite considerably from the May version. Accounting.com. So we're going to put in employee number, and eventually the PIN will be the password dots, so it's not going to be visible to people. I left it visible for testing purposes so that I know like the box is taking what I type. But then enter employee number, PIN, and we go ahead and log in. And then this screen will be will eventually be a little activity screen. So you'll see the kind of what activity people have done. So like you'll see if anybody has any rejected time cards, a link to that rejected time card will show up in here, saying that time card on 8/2 was rejected for this reason. And just give you an overview, a dashboard of the different notifications and different activity that the employee has done. So that's kind of what this white space is going to be when it's all said and done. But we have across the top, we have our menu bar, and then the sign off button up in the upper right corner for people to sign out. So we have the view time card, enter time card, and approve time card for the time card functions. The view time card will allow you to actually just view a time card in a read-only format. So it won't allow you to make changes on the view screen. But the enter screen, if you pick the day that is already entered, it'll bring up all of the entries, allowing you to make changes to those entries if they haven't already been approved. And then approved time card is very similar to the PFA Works app now, where it's just for the approvals. So not everybody's going to see the approved time card link. Only the supervisors, when they log in, will see that part of the link. We are planning on allowing them to view their pay stubs online. So with the pay stubs that come from the pay stub generator, and just allowing them to view those PDFs through the app, so that they can just see what their last pay stub was and download it if they didn't get the email. W4 information. This is what we're planning on showing for their current employees' current W4 information. So they can come here to view their W4 information, possibly make changes to their W4 information, but at least for sure be able to view it and see kind of what they have currently selected for their W4, and print off a W4 copy. The view W2, this will pull in the last W2 that was generated in ProFund accounting, and allow them to view and print their W2 online. Inventory, we're planning on doing some simple things with inventory, but they're not really, we haven't really discussed that as of right now. But we are changing how inventory gets entered on the time cards to be a little bit cleaner. So that's what the inventory menu is for. And then settings will be any kind of settings that are related to that user for the web application that we're allowing users to change. So let's get into time cards, and we'll start with the view time card. And basically what the view time card will do is allow them to pick a day through calendar. So there we go. If I load the time card information, just trying to find time cards, you can see here that the template that they use is going to show up in here as the description for the entry. So like for example, this one was a direct equipment to the shop truck. And you can see how many hours that they have, whether or not it's overtime, comp time, or an extra rate was specified, or extra rate was checked. And then right now I show the time card entry ID, which is the database ID, just to for testing purposes at the moment. And then for this one, you can see any equipment that they have added to their time card will show up in the roll down as well. So you can see the equipment code, the name of the piece of equipment, as well as the hours for that piece of equipment. Any notes will show up kind of in this big section for notes so that they can see all of the notes that are on a particular entry. And then the type is going to actually show, but it will spell out like a type 1 is an account type. Type 3 is direct equipment. So you'll see like direct equipment here, you'll see account. To just tell you kind of at a quick glance, tell the employee like, okay, this was a account template that they used. This was a direct equipment, just keep it real straightforward. And likewise, this one would say like personal, just to give them another view as to what kind of a time card entry that this time card entry is. And then likewise, any like I said, any time card entries that have equipment will have this grid that shows up, allowing them to see the number and pieces of equipment that are attached to that time card entry. You can roll as many down as you want, roll as many up as you want. And on the mobile side, if I shrink my screen down, you can kind of see that there is some scroll bars that will show, but this is kind of what it would look like on a phone. But you can still see all of the information is visible. There aren't any big scroll bars except for the up and down one, which is normal. Like the system is fluid enough to adapt to the different screen sizes. So like whether or not you're on an iPad or an iPhone or an Android phone, or an Android tablet, or maximized on a desktop browser, the screen will adapt itself to fit those different devices. Obviously, on a desktop browser, you'd be able to see more without so many scroll bars, but it is possible to see everything on the phone. Employees be able to see their punch in and punch out times. Yes, we are going to be doing a punch in and punch out. It will probably be on the front screen, that dashboard that comes up. There'll be a punch in and a punch out button, and then right underneath that there will likely be a little history of activity for punching in and punching out that they can scroll through and see the dates and times and everything like that that they punched in and punched out on. Does anybody else have any questions right now? All right, well then let's get into the actual entering of a time card, because that has changed quite a bit. So if you go to enter time card. So in May, I kind of showed a preview of this screen, and it's become much more fleshed out, and it has much more detail to the screen than it did back in May. So the first thing that an employee would do when they come to the screen, it will pre-show today's date, so that if they're doing a time card for today, they don't have to enter the date. It'll automatically have today's date. But if they're doing a previous day's time card, say like the 30th, then they can pick a previous day, as long as it's not been approved yet. If it's been approved, then the day will be not able to be selected from the date picker if the time card has been approved or imported. So right now, since none of the time cards in my system are approved, we can go to the 30th. We can hit new, and these are the entries that came up that I already had in the system. and I can do a new entry. I can tell it either through the arrows or through typing in the number of hours. The typing in the number of hours into the hours field here, or the arrows will do quarter hour increments. You can type in any notes that you want. And then you'd still have to check if this is an overtime time card, if you're going to request an extra rate or if you're going to request comp time. So similar to the time card app now, where those buttons are needing to be checked. And then the next thing down here is these radio buttons tell you what type of time card entry this is going to be. So whether it's going to be an account template, a direct equipment time card entry where you would pick the piece of equipment from the list, a direct inventory, where again, except for instead of equipment, it would be inventory would be in the list. Personal, where you would see all of your personal entries at personal time card types or personal payroll types that the employee has access to. Work order or equipment capital outlay. And the equipment capital outlay will work very similar to direct equipment, where you would pick the piece of equipment, but because of it being the equipment capital outlay type, the import will recognize that and post it to the appropriate 900 account number automatically for you. So you wouldn't have to keep adding and maintaining a giant list of equipment for equipment capital outlay in the time card template screen. So let's pick direct equipment, and we're going to do a pickup. You can also use arrow keys to arrow through the list of equipment, and it will be sorted by equipment name, and then it will eventually have the equipment code will also show up in here. All right, and then we can add equipment, and again, picking from this list, this is basically the same list as the direct equipment. So you can pick an piece of equipment and you can add the number of hours. And as we discussed, there will be a warning that comes up, or an error message that comes up if they try to add 15 hours instead of 14.25. It will still only go up to 16 equipment hours on a single entry, but you can add in, so you can add this piece of equipment. You can also add it again for a different number of hours if you wanted to do that as well. So you could have the same piece of equipment on the time card entry more than once. It will give you a warning, but it will eventually give you a warning, but it will still let you do that. All right, and then when you're done with the time card entry, then you go ahead and hit save. So you can see now it says the time card was saved successfully. If there aren't any other questions, thank you all for coming, and hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of their day. And like I said, we'll definitely be in touch with everyone regarding a date for the actual release of the time card system, as well as you'll probably see some more updates to it in the September webinar. And as we get closer, the the progress on the time card app will be featured on these monthly webinars.
You are now working smarter with ProFund Accounting. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.